You're listening to Three Kitchens podcast, hosted by Erin Walker and Heather Dyer.
We're friends trying out recipes in our own regular home kitchens. We hope our experiences will inspire you to get creative in the kitchen. Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Three Kitchens podcast. My name is Erin Walker, and joining me is my co-host, Heather Dyer.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
We are here for business. It's the two of us, and I am playing yet another round of Guess What I Found at the Grocery Store this week.
My favorite. Seriously, I love when you do these.
I'm so
fun.
glad you do, because this is like the greatest fun for me is when I get to find something new to grab from the store. And this is something I've heard of before, but never seen. And I'm holding it up to you now. It looks like a very lumpy yellow pear to apple sized fruit thingamajiggy.
It almost looks like a little yellow pumpkin that has been deflated. Like the air has been let out of it.
Here's another one. There's a couple of, I've got a few of them.
Cool. I have no idea what those are.
Okay, so this is called quince. Have you heard of this before?
I have heard the word, but if you had asked me just with no context, what does quince, I would be like, where's my dictionary? I got to look that up.
What are you talking about? So the fruits and vegetables that are available in your local grocery store in Canada are sort of changing up right now because of some, how do we put this nicely?
Anti-American
current climate of relationships between our country and where we get most of our fruit. And so we're finding these new things in the store that we maybe haven't experienced or had before. And I've heard quite a few people be like, oh, I love going grocery shopping. There's so many new different fruits and vegetables. And I kind of have to agree with them.
I agree too. And I think it's always, no matter how you shop, it's always good to pay attention and notice where the stuff comes from.
Yeah.
Because in the past, you may have just been like, oh, these oranges look good, or those plantains look yummy, whatever it is, but you don't think necessarily where does it actually come from. So I think if nothing else, we're all learning
There you go.
more about the source of our food, which is great.
I have only ever heard about quince from Samin Nosrat, one of my, I think she can go up there on one of my celebrity crushes, if I'm allowed to say that. I am a big fan of her series on Netflix, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. I've watched it quite a few times. But of course, I have the accompanying cookbook.
And you've seen her announce that her new cookbook's coming out in September, I think it is.
And exactly.
Yes. Have you pre-ordered?
I have not yet, but I see that it's coming out in September. So it's called Good Things. And I mean, I just really love her first cookbook. And she talks about quince in it.
Oh.
And I would like to try something with them. So, what is quince? I went on to the Encyclopedia Britannica, and it tells me that quince is part of the rose family. Did you know apples are also part of the rose family?
No, I did not know that.
Neither did I. Okay, learning moment. So they have a strong aroma, but unfortunately, guess what they are when they're eaten raw, Heather?
Astringent?
Astringent!
I knew by the way you said it, because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, because they're not meant to be eaten raw. So in this wonderful cookbook of Samin's, she talks about poaching the quince in wine.
Oh.
Have you ever poached fruit?
I have poached pears in red wine.
Okay, excellent.
Very
I've
yummy.
never ever done this before. In her instructions, it says that you peel, halve, seed, or pit and poach quince until tender. She's got here a ratio of 2 pounds of fruit, 4 cups of wine, 1 1/3 cups of sugar, lemon zest, vanilla bean, and salt as the
Sounds good.
poaching liquid.
Yeah. So does it say what the flavor Or are you getting to that? What is the flavor of the quince? Like, does it taste like an apple? Like it's similar to,
It's
or
got a very apple pear like smell. The Encyclopedia Britannica tells me that it makes an excellent preserve and is often used to give flavor and sharpness to stewed or baked apples. So my guess is going to be that it's a deeper, more intense apple flavor.
mm, well, that sounds good.
So,
I remember you also saying when you smelled the lotus root that you thought it smelled like pear, and I don't think it tasted like pear. So I'm not really sure how much
I
to
might just
take
be
from that.
having a stroke.
Your
Everything
nose.
smells like pear.
No, that's burnt toast. Don't you worry.
Burnt
Okay.
toast. Okay, good. I'm safe right now. Okay. Okay, so it says that I'm going to put these fruits in there with the poaching liquid. This can take as little as 3 minutes for apricots and as much as 2.5 hours for quince. So this could be a long process.
Mm.
So when the fruit is tender, remove it from the liquid, let it cool, and then you want to reduce that liquid, the poaching liquid, over high heat until it is the consistency of maple syrup.
Oh, wow. Must be
So
very
I'm sure it's got a bunch of
sugary.
flavor in it, lots of sugar in there.
Uh-huh.
And then what do you do with this poached quince?
Oh, you don't just eat it in a
You
bowl with a
can just
spoon?
eat it with like this syrup and some scented, like some
Yum.
whipped cream on it,
Oof, that sounds yummy.
which sounds great. But the starting point of my curiosity was this beautiful page where she's got all these different types of savory and sweet tarts that you can make. And one of them is apple, poached quince, and frangipane. Is it frangipane?
Mm, I don't
Frangipane.
I know that word, but I couldn't tell you how to say it. I thought it was frangipani too, but I don't actually know. What is it?
It's almonds, sugar, almonds paste, butter, vanilla, almond extract. It's like a really nice kind of cream that you're going to kind of spread underneath of your fruits before you put them on your tart, looking all so cute, and drizzle it and
Mm.
bake it.
Okay, should we do
Because,
one of those how to pronounce things?
ooh, okay, let's play that game.
Frangipane, frangipane, frangipane.
Frangipane.
Frangipane. Of
Did you
course
like his
it's
voice?
fresh.
Frangipane.
Frangipane. There we go. It is an almond custard. There's a great word for it. That we're going to spread underneath of our apples and poached quince. And it's all going to be popped into a nice, sexy looking tart.
Oh,
Because,
I like this idea.
tarts are fun.
French words are fun.
French words are
Frangipane.
frangipane. We've had some fun playing with tarts.
Mm.
So why not make another tart?
And before that made me think of the whole discussion about a pie versus a tart. And there's a real fun, it's a real fun discussion about that in some episode. I can't remember which one. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find it and we'll put it in the show notes, which
We will reference the episode where we really dove deep into what constitutes a pie versus a tart. I think we have a good little graphic too, little questions of whether it's a pie or a tart.
oh, yeah. Hey, listener, we're just blown away by the kindness and generosity of our guests on the podcast. They lend us their time and share their knowledge with all of us so we can learn to be better cooks and bakers at home.
If you enjoy our guest episodes, please see their links below in the show notes. Go follow and support them too. And if you have an idea for a guest, please send us a message. We'd love to hear it. Now, let's get back to this episode. So to begin this process, I poached the quince because it recommends that you can't eat them raw. They will be astringent. And they are they are a hard, dense, apple-shaped little guys. To poach the quince, I peeled them, cut them in half, took the seeds out, and then placed them into a pot. And the recipe that I went off of was from Samin Nosrat's Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, where she says for every 2 pounds of fruit, combine 4 cups of wine, 1 1/3 cups of sugar, lemon zest, and vanilla, and a pinch of salt. And then bring them to a boil, turn it down to a simmer. I didn't have a full 4 cups of wine. I just used a bottle of wine, so it was 750 mils, but pretty much everything else I kept the same. And then, lordy, let me tell you, these take some time to soften.
Oh.
So when she says if you're poaching, is that poaching what we're doing? Yes. If you're poaching fruit, it can take 3 minutes with apricots, but 2.5 hours for quince.
Ooh.
Yes, sirree. This sat on my stove and just bubbled away, simmered away for a very long time. So
Did you have to add more liquid at any point?
I didn't, because so you can cover the fruit with a round piece of parchment with a hole cut in the center, sort of to kind of prevent evaporation. I just prop my pot open very slightly using a spoon on the edge, like kind of in between the lip, and it leaves a little gap for air to come out, but most of the water falls back in. All right, so once these were poached, I tested this with like my cake tester or toothpick. You can tell cake tester kind of goes all the way in and all the way out. You're good. You've poached your quince. So I did this the evening before I made the tart while I cooked dinner. So it was the first thing I started. It sat on the stove in the back. We made dinner. We ate dinner. I did the dishes. And then in the evening,
It was
I came
still
back
simmering.
and they were finally done.
Oh,
Because
wow.
2 hours is a long time, right? Like, so I would say definitely if you're going to do this with the quince, do that step ahead of time. And then once they're good, just take them out and put them on a plate to cool. And then I just popped them in the fridge overnight until I was ready to make my tart. The syrup that's left behind, you can boil down further and make like a syrup out of it. And so what I did is I boiled it down too much. It got too thick. So then I added water and rewarmed it to get it to a thickness that I could use
Oh, okay.
later on when I made the tart the next day. So I would even say once you take out your pears, just pour it into a jar. Don't even worry about thickening it. You're probably good. I'm sorry, I said pears.
I
When
was
you
just
take
going
out
to
your
ask,
quince.
you know, my memory on this. I was going to say, is a quince a form of a pear?
No.
Oh, you had me there for a second.
Sorry. Ta-da! We have our poached quince. Now we're going to take this and make a delicious apple poached quince and frangipane tart.
Frangipane. I cannot believe that I have like basically no recollection of the first half of this episode.
This is wonderful. I'm having so much fun with you.
We really should not have so much space between.
I know, I'm sorry.
That
All right.
frangipane. Okay.
So easy to make. Almonds, sugar, almond paste, butter, 1 egg, salt, vanilla, and almond extract. So first you want to put the almonds and the sugar together and get that down into a very fine like powder or sand with those two things. And then you add the rest of the ingredients and it makes it into a paste. So easy. This makes more than what you need for the tart. And it lasts in your fridge up to a week. And if you like things like, say, like an almond croissant, grab yourself some croissants and spread your frangipane on that croissant. Oh, so good.
You'll feel so fancy, so French.
So French. I'm sorry. Almond flavored stuff is like the be all end all for me. All right. So you whip up this frangipane.
You have to say it frangipane.
Frangipane. I can't say it any other way now. Whip that up, put it in a container. I did this the night before, and then I made the tart dough that is recommended, of course, in Samin's book. Can we just put a shout out there? Can we just say like, Samin, come promote your book with us.
Samin.
Let's talk. Let's be friends.
You admitted, might have even been in the first half of this, and suddenly I've remembered it. You admitted to having a bit of a crush on Samin.
Yeah.
So,
Bet.
oh man.
We're going to just put it out into the universe. We're going to put the positive vibes out
We're
there.
going to manifest this. Manifest Samin Nosrat right into our screen, right?
There we go. Ding.
We'll put her in a heart shape.
Oh, okay.
There she is.
Excellent. So this tart dough was meant for me, even though she spelt my name wrong. The recipe is called Erin's tart dough. She spelled it with the double A, but I know she meant me. So I've made this tart dough before. It's a great recipe. I really like it. It's easy to make. It is flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. And into it, I like to grate my butter when it's still nice and cold
Mm-hmm.
and mix it in with my dry ingredients. And then to bring it all together, you're going to add, she says creme fraiche or heavy cream, but neither of those things really live in my pantry all the time, but sour cream does. So I use sour cream in this tart. And then if that's not enough moisture to get your dough to come together, just go a tablespoon at a time with some cold water. So again, pretty typical, easy pastry dough, I would say. And so once you've got that combined and it's a ball, you can put it in your fridge if it's warm in your kitchen. I don't know, we live in a cold place and my counters are always cold and I'm not really competing with heat, so I just go ahead and use it right away.
Yeah, those recipes that tell you to chill your stainless steel mixing bowl, I'm like, it's
It
cold.
is. My bowl is already
cold.
cold.
No need.
Exactly. All right, so you've got this dough. I rolled it out so that it fit into my tart pan. And then once you've rolled it out and you've got it in your tart pan, it says put it in the fridge. Again, this is the part that I do think it's important to put in the fridge for, because you've kind of warmed everything up by rolling it and touching it and getting your hands, they're pretty ice cold most of the time too. Poor circulation is a benefit to those bakers. And put it in the fridge and let it sit for 20 minutes, she recommends. And at that point, you can prep your apples and your quince so they're ready to go in the tart. I didn't peel my apples, but the quince was already peeled and poached, and then just thin slices. And I took on the challenge of the herringbone tart, which she has a beautiful image of in her book. It's the tart to end all tarts,
Wow.
I guess. So
Big statement.
now you know.
Bold.
Bold statement. I think it looked okay. I think it looked fairly pretty at the end of the day.
I think it looked beautiful.
So once I had all my apples sliced up, I brought the tart dough out of the fridge. You spread a layer of frangipane on the bottom of it. You arrange your apples on top of it in whatever way that pleases you, but really you have to do the herringbone tart because I just said so.
And it is the tart to end all tarts.
Exactly. So then once I had the apples and quince arranged in there, I looked in my cupboard and thought, ooh, I should sprinkle something pretty on here. So I still had some rose sugar from Tender Living Farms. And so I sprinkled the top with that and then popped it into my oven, which was preheated to 425 Fahrenheit. It cooked for 20 minutes at that temperature. And then you reduce your heat to 400 and cook it for another 20 minutes. And then you reduce your heat to 350 and cook for another 20 minutes. And so I think this is to help not over brown your crust, because you want that high hot heat right at the beginning. So it kind of like seals your crust. You get that flaky stuff happening with your butter in the pastry and it's all wonderful. But then you need the time to cook and break down your apple and your quince and get everything to kind of glue together in your tart. And they said if your crust starts to brown too much, you can just cover it with a piece of tin foil on the edges or a piece of parchment. Once it's done, you bring it out. And at this point, I brushed on that syrup that I had saved for my quince the day before, after it came out and while it was still piping hot, just to give it that like
glaze. It's kind of a glaze on top.
Yeah, those were things that I thought would be good. And a little bit more of that sugar, because that pretty pink sugar is just so pretty. All right, let it cool, slice it up, and try not to eat it all in one sitting.
Before you share it with your co-host?
I didn't even eat it by the time I dropped it off for you.
Really?
I didn't. No, we saved it for dessert that night. Let me tell you, my family was like, I can't wait any longer. Like it was just
mine too. When do we get to eat that? When are we eating that? They keep looking in the glass dish. When are we eating that? What is it?
So did I explain how to make a tart? I don't know. God, it was a many stepped process. But if you don't want to do this with quince because you don't have access to it, or boiling it for 2.5 hours sounds like the I'm out of here step. Do it with just apple.
Or pear.
Yeah, you can do this frangipane and fruit thing. Let's see. Apricot and frangipane. Rhubarb and frangipane. Plum and frangipane. Frangipane.
I'm loving all the stone fruit. Usually around August, we go out to BC, to the Okanagan, and sometimes there's some early stone fruits like peaches and plums and things that are like just starting by if we're there a little bit later in the summer. And I always buy some, and then I don't know what to do with it. We just eat them fresh because we can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
But this
sometimes you want to save it and do something with it, right?
This was delicious. And if I had not known that that was quince, I don't think I could have said, I wouldn't have been like, what's this? I felt like it was very much like the apple.
4 quince was way too much for this. This was like maybe 2 quinces worth of pie. I had a whole bunch of extra, so I ended up blending it because I felt like it was like applesauce. It tasted a lot like applesauce.
It's very much like an apple, I thought.
Yeah.
I love the rose, the frangipane. I mean, the flavors were just so good.
Yeah.
I did find the crust a little hard.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up with my slice leaving the top edge.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can't get through this anymore. But I scooped off all the top stuff.
Good.
And my family was like, I don't know which one of them was like, I'll eat it, and took it. Just took it from me and like ate it like a cookie.
Yeah. So I haven't made this crust enough to really know what the best endpoint is. So maybe it was just a little bit too long.
I don't know. It's interesting to hear how you do the temperature, that step down in temperature. I mean, the flavor is delicious. It looks beautiful. It holds together. It doesn't get soggy or anything underneath the fruit and the frangipane. Like it's a great crust. For me personally, it was a little too crunchy, like hard.
Yeah.
But it was it was a favorite with my family, and they were like, is that it? Is there more? It was definitely one of those.
Yeah, fantastic. I see you later, cakes.
Oh, totally.
Bye.
We're so done with cakes at the moment. Give it some time and we might be back to, maybe I'll try a cake.
Maybe.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
I'm going to make more tarts.
Tarts feel very summery to me.
Yeah.
And now for the fine print. Links to recipes and other things we talked about in this episode can be found on the show notes or our website, www.threekitchenspodcast.com. Come say hello on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok. We'd love to connect. And if you enjoy the show, pass it on. Word of mouth is the #1 way people learn about new podcasts. Thanks for listening. I haven't been invited to a dinner party in a long time, have you?
Yeah, no, me neither.
No. Maybe we're not good guests.